Now, what is defense? You need to learn what's out there, what they've got, and how you can defend yourself from that. Righteous people will always have to do that. I've talked about that when there's negative and positive, and there always will be, and there will be the ones that just want you to die, right? We have shows about it. You're going to need defense. You're going to have to be ahead. And usually righteous, if you work together, could usually have plenty of time in other areas as they've done things righteously and connect and got food and got housing, instead of whinging about it constantly. They're not going to succeed because they're whinging about repeats. Would usually succeed before a bad one comes in with a bigger team to try to stop that success, which is what happens in life. Sometimes it doesn't because a bigger, badder one that's a little ahead and bigger turns up. But sometimes it goes by luck, and if you keep being righteous, righteous usually does a better outcome than bad. Bad just usually wins because technically the stronger survive would win, and if people follow a bad way, means become a big group, would win, right? And usually easier is an easier thing to go for if you notice most people would truck along. So righteous is actually the harder battle, but it's more thriving if you're willing to wait. But a lot of people, like little child, you get told that you can have a whole packet if you just wait for a little while and just have that 1 or 2 lollies sitting there. If you eat those 1 or 2 lollies, you will not get a packet later. And then you come back 10 minutes later after telling them they will get the packet if they just don't eat those lollies, and they eat the lollies, right? They're in that sin. They've got to get out of that collectively. So until we get out of that, what do you think is going to happen? When it comes to defending yourself, like I said, you've got to make sure that you're strong enough to make sure, is it worth it? When a lion attacks, they don't just attack anything, do they? They go for the weakest. That's usually how it usually goes. Or they go for the strongest if they want to go big straight away if they believe they can. But usually it's the first one. They'll attack if they believe it's worth attacking, right? In most cases, and that's how we live our life. And so what you do is you make sure you're a big enough threat to not be worth attacking. As I talk about when it comes to attacking America, that's a big threat as the American people are strong, as they've got abilities to defend themselves, right? Where Australians don't. What have they got that American got? They might have intelligence, but they don't have proof to defend themselves, so that ain't America. That's why I say Australians are like pansies. They choose, they know the truth, but they choose not to kill the animal, but they want the food. They're those type of people. You know what I mean? And so hopefully we can become a threat where the materials is not worth it. Do they really need what they need? You know what I mean? I'll see you later.